Hello, hello. Good evening, everybody. I see only Flans, the kitty, Eros. Oh, going to gym. Have a good workout. Hi, 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 hi. Hello and welcome. Your mic is scuffed. Uh-oh. What's scuffed? What's scuffed about my mic? Am I too close? Am I too loud? Wow. Let's see. Is this better? Was I maybe too close? Missed last stream. I only saw the one where you canceled. You okay? So I had a family. I don't know if you would really call it an emergency because at that point, they told me to start the stream off kind of dark. The emergency, quote unquote, was already over. Basically, I had to travel to attend a funeral. At very well, the night that I canceled was when I found out about my grandmother. So yeah, I was gone for the week because I had to travel out of the country. But things are okay. Family's okay. No. It's okay. I understand. You weren't there, so it's it's understandable. I know for anybody who's not following your mic static, like we hear every lip smack. Oh no, a high def. Okay, hold on. Maybe I'll turn it down a little. Hopefully this is better. I just brought it down just a tad. ASMR ring. Let me see. Shouldn't have changed anything on my mic. Perfect? Okay. Yeah, I just took it down a notch. Maybe it was a little too sensitive. Yeah, I mean, I know it's like silent. It's because the game doesn't have any music here in this section. But I wanted it to be, before we even get into this demo, first of all, let's get into some of the warnings. So this is a demo of a visual novel called Eclipse, Special Forces. It is a Yuri visual novel. And the premise is that men have been eradicated from the earth and all that's left is women. So all the romanceable characters and the playable character, they're all women. We love women. So I was contacted by the studio that made this visual novel, and they told me, hey, so the demo of our visual novel is out now for free if you'd like to play it, and if you really like it and you want the full game, where we'd be open to sending you the key for free. So thank you, Moon Sun. So this is just the demo. We're just playing the demo tonight. And then, by the end of the demo, we'll see how we like it. And then I could always hit up the developers and tell them, hey, like, me and my audience really enjoyed the game and we'd like to see more. So thank you, Moon Sun, for that very kind offer. Yeah, I love women kissing. Good. You want the Yuri? Well, you have come to the right stream. I don't know how much the demo is going to show, but here are the general warnings for this visual novel, okay? So, warning for everybody watching. Just be aware. Hold on, let's see. Can I... Wait. I want to be able to hear myself. Can we do this? Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. Ahem. Check. 1, 2. Ahem. Warning. This game contains scenes of violence, blood and gore, depictions of murder, terrorism, abuse, and drug use. Wait, I realized I didn't even say my intro. I was just too excited to just greet everybody. But hello, for anyone who is lurking and watching, or if it's your first time here, hello, I'm Calico Pascal, Sea Otter VTuber, streaming to you live from the Float Harbor Aquarium. And today we are here for women kissing. So let me continue with the warning. Players who have experienced trauma related to any of these topics are strongly advised to proceed with caution. It also includes flashing lights and high contrast imagery that may trigger photosensitive seizures, so please be careful if you must, close the tab or like close your eyes just in case. We don't want any seizures happening here, please. This game is a work of fiction. All characters, events, and organizations are entirely fictional and bear no relation to real individuals or incidents. Thank you. Okay. So, with that being said, let's just hop right into it. I have no idea how long the playtime for this demo is going to be, so stream tonight might be a little short. But hopefully you guys don't mind. Hopeless romantic sapphic the kitty. Oh, I know. Well, you know, I don't know what kind of romance we'll face here. But I have a feeling it's not going to be the sweet kind. I feel like it's going to be the hot and spicy kind. So let's jump into it. There are no NSFW of them. No, I don't believe so. This is the demo also, so I don't think they would include that in the demo. And again, it was just... those were the general warnings, so I didn't see any NSFW tags on the Steam page, so we should be good. Way too excited for the Yuri, you totally forgot your own lore. Yes, it's exactly, I know. Too excited to just jump into the game. Like, I didn't even think, like, my brain is just on another planet right now. It's Yuri time. So let's see. Maybe, let me check the configurations. Time attack mode is on. Skip unread text off. Full screen mode is off. Not that you guys can tell. BGM, sound effect volume, text speed, auto text speed. I'm going to bring it down a notch, just a little. Also gonna lower it for myself. It's still kind of loud. I'll lower it a little more. I think this is okay? Something like this, right? Yeah, I think that's okay. Albums, so we can probably look at all the beautiful artwork. Oh, game? Hello? Okay, I guess we can't view the album yet. This is just a demo after all. Hi Nyoni, welcome. Maybe have a tab ready to drag over to censor it just in case. I don't know, it wouldn't be a tab. I'd have to just like, wait, let me see. If I click off of the game, oh no, it's still there. I would just have to, maybe we make like we'll add another image, or we'll use this as our censor, okay? So, just to be ready, I will resize it up. Or maybe it doesn't need to be that big, but well, this will be our censor. Okay, it'll be hiding here, just in case, but I think we'll be okay. Okay, so let's start. So dark. Heisu is engulfed in darkness. The shadows were unnaturally cold, wrapped in an oppressive silence. A darkness so absolute she couldn't tell whether her eyes were open or closed. I can't even move a finger. Suspended in an endless abyss, trapped where she could neither leave nor remain, Heisu felt herself engulfed by a nameless terror, as though caught in the suffocating grasp of sleep paralysis. I hope I'm pronouncing their names correctly, so forgive me. Desperately, she struggled to move her fingertips, even slightly, even faintly, at that very moment. What do hands even look like? An absurd, inconceivable thought seized her consciousness. This is ridiculous. She knew without any doubt that she had hands. Yet no matter how hard she tried to recall, she couldn't picture their shape. If I stay here any longer, I might disappear. A suffocating dread crept through her, an oppressive darkness that seemed to deny her very existence. That fear surged outward in a soundless, desperate scream. Then, as if it had been waiting for this precise moment, the void opened its gaping maw wide and swallowed her whole. Heisu had already become helpless prey, swallowed by the pitch-black darkness, when suddenly a cascade of white light poured down upon her like relentless rain. Yet, despite this abrupt deluge, Heisu did not flinch or shield her eyes. Instead, she stared directly upward into the streaming radiance, as though she had awakened in the heart of the light. The ceaseless torrent soon swelled into a dazzling flood, shimmering all around her. Heisu found herself submerged beneath its surface, gazing numbly upward at the undulating waves. Am I underwater? The instant that realization pierced her thoughts, her body grew heavier, gradually sinking like soaked cotton. An irresistible force coiled around her, pulling relentlessly. It dragged her deeper and deeper into the silent, waiting abyss. Powerless, unable to resist, Heisu sank, falling without end into an abyssal sea, eerily slumbering in silence. With each passing second, the crushing pressure increased mercilessly, her body groaning beneath the immense weight. Air escaped her lungs in panicked bubbles as she struggled to move her limbs. Yet, despite her anguished desperation, her arms and legs remained stubbornly paralyzed, as though nailed in place. A cruel, wrenching dissonance overcame her, a feeling as if the mind and the body had been violently torn apart, thrown onto parallel paths, destined never to meet again. Trapped in this irreversible plunge, a terrifying dread took hold of Heisu's heart, the realization that she might never escape this relentless descent. I am going to lose my mind. Just as Heisu's sanity teetered precariously at its limit, a voice whispered, brushing faintly against her ears. I've killed. The voice was gentle, strangely comforting, almost familiar. Heisu strained earnestly to identify its owner, her ears yearning toward the indistinct sound. Yet, I can't hear it clearly. The murmuring waves swirled around her ears, crashing relentlessly and drowning out the voice, keeping it just beyond Heisu's grasp. No matter how intensely she strained, the words remained fragmented, drifting to her in scattered bits, like static from a poorly tuned radio crackling into her consciousness. Or... Suddenly the voice rang out again, this time with piercing clarity. Responding instinctively, Heisu's body surged upwards, abruptly breaking free of the watery depths. It was as though she'd never been submerged at all. Beneath the glaring sunlight, bangs that felt as if dried crisp brushed gently against her forehead. Heisu pressed her feet onto the hard ground and rose to stand. The suffocating restraint had disappeared entirely, leaving behind only an uncanny emptiness. Weakness etched into every muscle, she inched forward, each step as tentative as a child's first. At the distant edge of the blindingly white space, where her gaze finally settled, someone deeply, achingly familiar stood waiting. Who? To clearly discern the face hidden behind a haze of thick mist, Heisu took an urgent step forward. Would you rather kill? What? That voice, calm yet chillingly sinister, halted Heisu mid-step. And then, a sudden, violent torrent of crimson blood splashed against Heisu's face. The thick, dark liquid clung to her skin, burning as though determined to melt her flesh away. Heisu gasped as the scorching pain ripped mercilessly through her senses. I have to get this off right now, or else... Just as she frantically lifted her arms to wipe the blood away. Ah! An agonized scream violently ripped through the air. Please! Followed by the sight of someone's back, contorted in agony. In this hell! Oh, a dream? Ooh. Also, the art is so nice. Oh, dang, this is the wrong stream to give a kitten update. Aw, you got kitty updates? Well, we could use a little kitten update. Who wants to hear about kittens? I love kittens. Could use some kittens. Yeah, isn't it nice? When I saw the trailer, I was like, oh my god, holy moly. Oh, we got the TV. Hold on, we must be immersed. Well, maybe it wouldn't be like, this is more live. How about this one? This is kind of like TV-ish. This is today's news. Recently, a series of random assault incidents have been simultaneously occurring across the globe. Eclipse has classified these events as acts of terrorism and will launch an investigation. My breathing is drowning out all the other sounds. At the end of Jesus' blurry vision, she could see the TV playing. But her rapid breathing seemed to interfere with the sound, and the content failed to register in her mind. You want to hear more of this game? Well, we barely just started, Keiko. I'm glad you're already hooked. You kept both kitties. The runt is named Biscuits, and the fluffy one is named Pumpkin Muffins. Aww, babies, so cute. Before she could fully catch her breath. Huh. Something fell onto her lap with a soft thud. Is it another woman? Huh? Oh. Oh my god, it is! Oh my god, there's another woman here! Once Hasty recognized it was... Oh my god, please, I'm sorry. Is it Dae? Dae's arm? Or is it Dae? I don't know. I'm sorry. I'll just say Dae. Her tension eased and a slow, calming smile spread across her face. Dae was fast asleep, oblivious and tranquil. Comforted by the familiar rhythm of Dae's quiet breathing, Heisu finally turned her gaze toward the television. I guess we fell asleep watching that movie last night. Last night, while aimlessly flipping through TV channels, Heisu stumbled upon an old favorite, Tiger. Tiger was a campy, B-grade movie featuring a protagonist who wore a tiger mask and shouted the cheesy catchphrase, "I will protect this world!" as she defeated the villains. Despite its reputation as a low-budget spectacle, Heisu had always loved watching Tiger. There was something undeniably admirable about the hero's unwavering courage, her readiness to leap into action without hesitation, always protecting those in trouble. Sure, looking at it now, it's definitely cheesy, but still. Heisu tore her gaze away from the TV, glancing down at Dae's arm draped lazily across her lap. Gently lifting that arm, she placed it around her neck and nestled carefully into Dae's warm embrace. Huh. Underneath the covers, Dae's body radiated a comforting warmth, perfectly heated, just right. Wrapped in that reassuring heat, Heisu quietly listened to the steady rhythm of Dae's heartbeat, lifting her head slightly to look at her peacefully sleeping face. I've never seen her sleep this soundly before. Where Heisu drifted easily into peaceful sleep, Dae was often besieged by nightmares. It looks like I'm the one who had the nightmare this time. Yes, it is, the kitty. It's a Butch Yuri VN. It's so good. Lost in thought, Heisu softly poked Dae's cheek. Does she have nightmares like this too? I know, exactly. It's so rare. So when I got the email from the developers, I was like, there's no way. How did they know? How did they find me? In Heisu's dream, she drifted helplessly through an endless abyss woven of binding light and absolute darkness, until even the memory of her own form faded away. Even now, the terror she'd felt remained so vividly clear, far too tangible to dismiss as a mere dream, and her fingertips still trembled faintly, a lingering echo of that raw fear. Did Dae ever feel fear like this too? The fear of your entirety vanishing away. The dread of being left alone, abandoned in a silent void. Heisu had never asked Dae directly about her dreams. Firstly, because Dae didn't seem to want to discuss them, and secondly, because whenever she suffered from nightmares, she always quickly calmed down as long as Heisu was right by her side. Aww. Within the Eclipse unit, 2 agents typically shared a single living quarter. Oh my god, and they were roommates. Though each agent was provided with their own bed, Heisu and Dae always shared one, for this exact reason. But in reality, I do want to know. Dae, what kind of dreams do you have? And when will you tell me? Dae. Heisu gently grasped Dae's index finger as if to reassure her of her presence. And as if in answer to her action, Dae's eyes slowly fluttered open. Oh my god! Oh, she got the yellow eyes. Ooh. Her golden eyes glistened beneath crescent-shaped lids, reflecting Heisu's face. After a few slow, languid blinks, her eyes, filled with the warm, fading hues of sunset, finally opened fully, round and clear. Oh, you're awake? Heisu. Let's sleep a little longer. With those murmured words, Dai's eyes closed once again, vanishing quietly like a full moon obscured behind clouds. Perhaps it was Dai's sweet, dreamlike voice gently tugging at her senses. Jesus suddenly felt herself slipping back into the comforting haze of sleep, as though about to drift once more into the labyrinth of dreams. Struggling to resist the returning drowsiness, Jesus blinked several times, uncertain of what to do next. We gotta, let's sleep a little, let's sleep a little bit longer. Yeah, so this visual novel has what they call time attack, I believe, time attack events. So you gotta react fast, and sometimes I assume the speed is going to be a lot faster than that. Jesus' eyelids fluttered shut, too heavy to resist. Lulled by Dai's quiet breathing, she drifted into a deep and peaceful sleep. You did some research on the name as per usual. In terms of, like, how to pronounce it. What's that sound? So noisy. It's pronounced Dela or Dala. Okay. Jesus frowned as her peaceful slumber was shattered by the sudden noise. In an attempt to drown it out, she burrowed deeper beneath the blanket. Yet the irritating electronic ringing refused to cease, insistently echoing through the room. That's really annoying. Half asleep, Jesus reached out, fumbling blindly across the bedside table until her fingers finally closed around the noisy phone. At that exact moment, the incessant ringing magically ceased. Missed calls. Jesus squinted at the screen, overcome by an inexplicable sense of unease. Max. 10 missed calls. Upon confirming the caller's name, Jesus let out a low groan of dread. Ugh, I'm so dead. With sudden urgency, she threw off the covers and launched herself out of bed, shaking the mattress violently in her haste. As Jesus scrambled around, pulling on scattered clothes, Dai remains peacefully asleep, entirely undisturbed by the commotion. So it's pronounced Dala or Dela. But I don't know, something about the double L. I'm like, Dai. But I'm not gonna keep butchering it if that's not the way to pronounce it. We'll say Dala. Or is it Dela? Dala. It's time to get up. Jesus called out urgently, her voice muffled as her head slipped halfway into her shirt. Quiet. If we don't hurry, Max is seriously going to kill us. I'm not getting up. Dala's voice trailed off as she sank back into her dreams, completely oblivious to Jesus' mounting panic. You usually wake up without any trouble. Why are you like this today? Get up! At her wit's end, Jesus finally seized the blanket cocooning Dala and hurled it onto the floor in frustration. For a brief instant, Dala's body shivered from the sudden chill, and then she fell back asleep. I'm a detective and a researcher, not the name police. Yeah, I know, it's probably just up to... I mean, obviously there is probably a correct way to read it, but I'm sure it's definitely going to be up to each person's interpretation of how they read it. Hi, Snorpuff, welcome. She immediately slipped right back into a blissfully deep slumber. Dala, get up, unless you want Max to chew us out. Jesus pleaded sweetly, grabbing Dala by the shoulders and gently rocking her back and forth as if she was coaxing a stubborn child awake. Despite being shaken limply back and forth, Dala showed no signs of waking, leaving Jesus breaking out in a cold sweat. Just then... That knocking sounds way too soft for bang, bang, bang! Oh, an impatient, aggressive knocking echoed harshly throughout the room. That frantic combination of furious doorbell ringing and pounding can only be... Excuse me, seniors? Don't tell me you're still asleep! We're doomed. Uh-oh. Dala, we're late. Hurry up! Move, move! In sharp contrast to Jesus, who looked ready to dash out the door at any second. Dala leisurely took her sweet time putting on her gloves, calmly preparing to head out. Seriously, stop dawdling. Let's go. If we're any later, Max will rip us apart. Just as Jesus frantically yanked open the door. Finally, could you please hurry up, seniors? Max stood waiting outside, her brow furrowed deeply, irritation blatantly obvious on her face. Dude, I love the green hair. And the eye patch. Hello? And right next to her... Oh my gosh. Adora stood as still as a statue, asleep on her feet with an uncanny calm as though possessed. Excuse me, ma'am? She's sleeping, standing up. Is this your first time meeting her? Just ignore her. I'm practically starving after waiting forever for you two. Every morning at exactly 7:40, Jesus, Dalla, Max, and Adora gathered to eat breakfast together before heading out for their shift. No one was quite sure when exactly this became their daily routine, but it was undoubtedly a decree enforced by Max. Are these all men or women? They're all women! They're all women! There's no men in this VN. They're all gone. Women! Then you should go eat first instead of waiting for us. Why do we have to eat together every day anyway? Do you honestly think you'd come down on your own if I didn't keep an eye on you? I'm hungry. In response to Max's pointed jab, Jesus casually whistled, leading the way downstairs to the first floor. Dude, yaoi VN? Eyeball emojis. We should. Maybe sometime. At Cafe Rest, located on the first floor of the Eclipse facility. As Haisu pushed open the cafe door, a cheerful bell chimed brightly, welcoming them inside. Cafe Rest, decorated with elegant white walls and warm wood-tone flooring, was Operation Team's #1 favorite spot. A subtle blend of fresh coffee and soothing lavender drifted gently through the air, lending the place a serene atmosphere perfectly befitting its name. As Haisu and the others settled comfortably at their usual windowside table, a familiar figure approached them. Good morning, everyone. Hey! Max nodded quietly in greeting. Such beautiful weather today, isn't it? Chase looked out the window with a radiant smile. I've heard there are folks who hang around here just to catch a glimpse of Chase. Glancing upwards at that warm, radiant smile, Jesus found herself briefly lost in thought. They say Chase's presence brings a rare touch of normalcy to the tense atmosphere of Eclipse. Though, truth be told, she's anything but ordinary herself. I brought a friend to the stream. Call her out because she won't type. Hello, OnlyFlans friend. Welcome. Welcome to the Ayuri stream. I hope you enjoy. After all, Eclipse wasn't just some military facility. It was the very heart of the land of Solar's authority. Unauthorized entry was strictly prohibited, and even those stationed here as civilians were required to have at least basic combat skills or supernatural powers. And yet, in a place like this, Chase ran a cafe, hardly ordinary by any stretch of imagination. Jesus thought blankly. When I was still just a rookie, Chase was already managing this cafe. But wow, she looks so much younger than me. Jesus? Chase's voice, gentle and slightly damp like morning dew, softly snapped Jesus out of her wandering thoughts. Yeah? Shall I bring you the usual? Yep, Dalla and I will have our usual. And for you, Agent Max? I'll have the ham sandwich set. Chase nodded, then disappeared into the back of the cafe. The reason she'd only taken 3 orders was simple. Adora's just still sleeping. Well, how did they move her? What? Adora wasn't exactly the type to exchange her morning naps for breakfast. Even now, seated at the table, Adora remained fast asleep, her head occasionally bobbing slightly. Jesus slowly shook her head. Recalling the bizarre sight of Adora sleepwalking— oh my god, they actually explain it! She sleepwalked all the way down to the cafe. Amazing. The talent. Ham sandwich set for you, Agent Max. Coffee for Agent Dalla. And finally, a BLT sandwich set for you, Jesus. With milk instead of coffee, correct? With practiced ease, Chase placed their meals and drinks before them on the table. Thank you. Thanks, looks great. After setting down their meals, Chase lingered awkwardly around the table, her gaze fixed intently on Jesus' face. Chase? Is there something I can help you with? Chase hesitated nervously, fidgeting around before finally speaking. Hey Sue, I've been thinking about adding something new to the menu. Oh, really? Yes, and I was hoping you might be willing to taste test it for me. Is there anything else you particularly like besides sandwiches? Well, let's see. Honestly, everything you make tastes amazing, so I'm sure whatever you decide will be delicious. Really? Then please give my new dish a try next time. Absolutely. I'll be looking forward to it. Great! Chase blushed bright red. Chase blushed bright red, swiftly hiding her flushed face behind her tray as she hurriedly stepped away. Hello? Max gave Jesus a look that seemed to say, seriously? What? What's that look for? Nothing. It's not like this is the first time you flirted with someone. Excuse me? Flirt? You're suspiciously quiet about this today, aren't you, Senior? Completely ignoring Jesus' reaction, Max turned toward Della. Usually, you'd throw a fit if someone so much as glanced in Jesus' direction. Max, are you seriously ignoring me right now? Della simply sipped her coffee, seemingly oblivious to Max's gaze. Back at the academy, anyone who dared showed interest in you. Well... Max's gaze lingered on Della, words halting mid-sentence before sliding towards Jesus. She's a jealous type. Well, what? Max fixed her eye on Jesus, who waited expectantly for the next words. You two were famous back at the Eclipse Academy. They called you Isis and Set, remember? She finally spoke aloud the startling truth. Wait, what? Isis and... Set? Jesus stared in disbelief, doubting her ears. Isis and Set, from Solar Legend. In simpler terms, an angel and a devil. Ignoring Jesus' stunned, mortified expression at having inadvertently opened a box full of embarrassing memories, Max calmly carried on without a hint of remorse. My classmates used to say that... Senior Dalla's cold, disdainful gaze, reminiscent of Set, was strangely irresistible. Yeah, those are Egyptian gods. The stream page mentioned that there was going to be some mentioning of Egyptian mythology in here, which I think is pretty neat. And you, Senior Jesus, they adored you because you remind them of Isis, kind-hearted and generous, with that gorgeous smile of yours. Isis? Set? Unable to trust her ears, Jesus repeated the names again in disbelief. Rumor had it anyone who confessed their feelings for you or who fell for Senior Dalla would inevitably go insane. Was it because they liked you so much? Max asked in a deadpan tone, her words directed squarely at Jesus, who seemed mirrored in denial. How the hell should I know? Jesus shuddered in a state of despair more intense than she'd ever experienced before. I never wanted to know any of this in the first place. Jesus groaned, burying her face in her hands, silently begging God to turn back time. Meanwhile, completely indifferent to Jesus' anguished meltdown, Dalla continued sipping her coffee, casually scrolling through her phone as though none of this concerned her. So noisy, muttered Adora, her voice barely audible. A faint ripple echoed as water-formed earplugs covered her ears, drowning out the noise. It seemed like she was trying to get proper sleep at the cafe. Well, how someone uses their powers is entirely up to them. Giving up on her meaningless struggle against Max's words, Jesus couldn't help but laugh softly as she glanced at Adora. Max shot Jesus an irritated glare that practically spoke, "What's so funny?" before letting out a heavy sigh. Element-based power wielders were exceptionally rare. In particular, wielders of the four natural elements, wind, water, fire, and earth, were revered more than any others, as these were powers once held by the legendary First Ones themselves. However, it is also common knowledge that elemental powers, despite their immense strength, are notoriously difficult to control. Ooh, you're hoping for Bastet to show up? That'd be kinda cool. Adora's effortless, casual use of such extraordinary power was clear proof of her remarkable talent. Yet Jesus couldn't help but find amusement in the fact that Adora, despite her exceptional ability, mostly used it as convenient shortcuts to indulge her laziness. I mean, hey, if I had superpowers, I would use them to my advantage too. They want to be avatars so bad. Anyway, the Academy. Wow, it feels like ages ago. The Eclipse Military Academy was a mandatory training institution for anyone aiming to join the Eclipse forces. Regardless of age or country of origin, anyone with supernatural powers who pledged unwavering loyalty to Solarism could enter the Academy. Successfully graduating guaranteed immediate enrollment into Eclipse, effectively serving as a fast track to citizenship in the land of Solar law. However, given its notoriously rigorous curriculum and harsh graduation exams, it wasn't exactly the most recommended route for everyone. Furthermore, it was not uncommon for influential figures from various nations to enroll their own kin into the Academy, intent on seizing power at the very heart of the land of Solar itself. Most of them ended up crying and running away within a few months, though. How long has it been since we graduated? Maybe 5 years? Heisu hadn't actually wanted an exact answer when she brought up their academy days, just something to chat about casually. We graduated in 1524. However, Dala swiftly and accurately provided the correct answer. Of course, Madame Hoy's impeccably precise. Dala merely shrugged, unfazed by Heisu's playful teasing. While remembering a graduation year might seem trivial, Dala had an extraordinary memory for just about everything. There was even an incident. The history professor, who had always disliked Dala, asked her, I almost did a deep voice, but I guess a woman could have a deep voice. List all the major events and dates from Creation Day through BC, AD, and up to the present. It was nothing but a blatant attempt to humiliate her in front of her classmates. But who are we kidding? With a perfectly calm, almost emotionless expression, Dala began reciting Creation Day, then every historical event and date with flawless precision. That's enough, stop! The professor, whether out of anger or fear, shouted, but Dala, her expression calm and unreadable, paid her no mind. There's still much to go, Professor, she replied with effortless poise. Since that incident, her classmates had taken to calling Dala the memory monster. Though behind her back, it seemed there were countless playful variations like Memon, Memomon, or even MMM. Rumor had it that Dala herself couldn't care less. She really does know everything. Heisu studied Dala's face, then shifted her gaze to the solitary cup of coffee that served as Dala's breakfast. Clicking her tongue disapprovingly, Heisu sighed inwardly. Breakfast should be heartier. I'm fine. Breakfast just makes me feel bloated. Come on, just one bite. After only a brief sigh, Dala took a reluctant bite from the sandwich Heisu offered. Delicious, isn't it? Yeah. Seeing Heisu's face glow with eager anticipation, Dala couldn't help but give a faint, resigned smile. Aww. What you looking at? Heisu rested her chin comfortably on Dala's shoulder, looking over the screen of her phone. Morning news. In an attempt to distract her, Heisu mischievously exaggerated her chewing motions, as if loudly chewing gum, causing Dala's shoulders to shake slightly. Stop it, I can't concentrate. Come on. Delighted by Dala's reactions, Heisu wrapped her arms playfully around her waist and laughed, carefree and joyous. Admit it, you two are dating, right? Yeah. Huh? No, we're not. Tell me about it. You're always stuck together as if you'd die the second you're separated. We're not that together, said Heisu, feigning innocence as she clung to Dala like a koala. Wait, why aren't you saying anything? Dala's eyes narrowed. Through that thin slit seeped a glacial stare, cold enough to freeze even Heisu on the spot. What? Why? What's that look supposed to mean? As if nothing had ever happened, Dala erased all traces of coldness from her face, replacing it with a gentle smile. Yes, we're dating, right? Got it. Let's get to work. With Max's announcement to disperse, everyone immediately rose from their seats. Even Adora, who moments before had clearly been half asleep, stood up without delay. No, it's not like that. We didn't mean to. Heisu desperately reached out, calling after them. but they had already vanished, leaving behind only the lingering echo of the jingling bells. In a world once lost to boundless darkness, awoke the sun god, La. With her divine radiance, she brought forth all creation from the abyss. She formed the world, and with sacred clay she fashioned two kinds of beings, those who bore her divine blessing and those who lacked it. Those blessed by La, the ones who create, possess the power to create life, mirroring the sun god herself, and use this sacred gift to build flourishing civilizations. But this divine power inevitably bred envy. There existed those untouched by her blessing, the ones who covet, who sought to seize her divine power through sheer violence. They proclaimed their own brute strength, the power to crush and destroy as the true essence of the sun god. How dare mere creatures, incapable of creation, claim themselves as divine? Deeply enraged by such arrogance, La sent her divine herald down to the mortal realm to restore order. The herald took pity on the ones who create, who had been trampled and oppressed by violence. So she bestowed upon 4 chosen humans the formidable elemental powers: wind, water, fire, and earth. With these divine gifts, the first ones drove the desecrators from the land. In recognition of their triumph, the divine herald bestowed upon the first ones the names Bastet, Tefnut, Hathor, and Mot. Under these sacred names, each founded great nations and governed the world in peace and harmony. Why would you only make a few have power? Could you not foresee this? Good question. I don't know. I guess even God has her favorites. As the tale concluded, the dancing shadows of the puppet show fell still. Wow! The children sitting around the tiny stage in a circle clapped their hands in delight. Oh my god, who is this? A woman seated beside the miniature stage, holding a storybook, smiled warmly at the children. Did everyone enjoy the prophet's tale? Yes, it was so much fun! Oh my god, more beautiful art. It's been a while since I've heard of Solar Legend. Yeah, me too. You know, when I first heard the story, I would go around town saying, I'm gonna be a hero too. That does sound like you, Senior. Jesus shifted her gaze away from Max toward the children, giggling and chattering joyfully. Though crafted specifically for children, it was not merely a romantic tale intricately woven by the ancients, intertwining imagination as warp and faith as weft. Excuse me. Historical truths lay within it. The persecution of people in ancient times, the awakening of supernatural power, and the 1-year war. Solar Legend was as much a history book as it was folklore, capturing the realities of a turbulent past. If only peace had endured after they drove out their oppressors. Yet, even after the dawn of the Solar Era, wars born of conflicting national interests persisted relentlessly. In the first century of the Solar Era, after a devastating war, the founding monarchs, Bastet, Tefnut, Hathor, and Mot, signed a peace treaty. No nation shall possess military force. The treaty was signed in the Land of Covenant, the eternally neutral land of Solar, within its capital, the Solar City. Here, a grand temple was erected to honor law and the promise of peace. And under the pretext of preventing terrorism and war, a special forces unit endowed with supernatural powers, Eclipse, was established. At its head sat the prophet, who alone could hear the voice of the sun god. Thus, she ascended as supreme leader of Solarism, sovereign of the land of Solar, and the highest authority within Eclipse. Now, does anyone have any questions for the prophet? Please raise your hand. Let me see those hands in chat. Who got questions for the prophet? Raise your hands! Look at all these kids are like, I do, me. Amongst the children eagerly raising their hands, one especially fervent voice drew the teacher's attention. Which country has the most similar climate to ours? That would be Bastet. Bastet is a lush spring nation blessed by the grace of wind. From Bastet's abundant nature comes the food we enjoy at our tables every morning. Even the milk I drink? Yes, of course. What about Tefnut? What kind of country is Tefnut? Tefnut is a summer nation blessed by the grace of water, known for its beautiful oases. Beneath its vast deserts lie splendid gemstones, which they use to decorate their magnificent buildings. Deserts? Like the sand we have at the playground! My mom said it's all sand there! Wow, that's amazing! Hathor is blessed by the grace of fire. It's an autumn country where the trees blaze crimson red. Its wide fields yield golden crops. They gently sway in the breeze, resembling waves of gold. Wow, that's so cool! Does it really snow in Mott? Snow? You mean the soft, cold stuff that falls from the sky? Yes, that's right. The land of Solar is always warm thanks to Law's blessing, so we never see snow here, but Mott, blessed by the grace of Earth, is a mystical winter nation where soft white snow gently blankets the land. But isn't it freezing when it snows? It must be hard to live there, asked one child, her saddened eyes looking up at the prophet. The prophet softly patted the child's head and spoke reassuringly. Mott is home to many wise scientists. They live abundant and comfortable lives, harnessing the power of science so they're never troubled by the cold. In fact, many of the buildings and vehicles in the land of Solar were created by scientists from Mott. Wow, I want to visit Mott someday. And what about the other countries? Does it snow there too? With a gentle and kind smile, the prophet shook her head at the child's question. How peaceful. It really is. But if it were truly peaceful, then Eclipse Horus, the investigation department, wouldn't have assigned the entirety of Operations Team 1 to guard the prophet. Typically, the prophet traveled with minimal protection to remain closely connected with the people. Within the borders of the land of Solar, renowned for its excellent security, and especially within its capital, the Solar City, this principle had always been maintained without issue. But now, amid continuous global reports of random assault incidents, the prophet's customary openness had become too risky to uphold. Eclipse thus designated a dedicated protection team to safeguard her against any potential threats. Ultimately, this critical duty fell to Horus Operations Team 1, of which Heisu was part. Mott, please take the cold away. Oh no! Thank you very much for today. No, not at all. We're the ones who are grateful. The children had a wonderful time. I also enjoyed meeting them. Would? Same. After exchanging brief greetings with the kindergarten teacher, the prophet turned to Heisu and Team 1. Thank you for your service. Shall we move on to the next part of today's schedule? The prophet and Operations Team 1 emerged from the narrow alley onto a large street bustling with market stalls. It seemed the lunchtime rush had just begun. Merchants hurriedly bustled about, setting up their stands. With each step along the path, the savory scent of melting butter mingled pleasantly, as well as the fresh aroma of fruit, tickling Heisu's nose. Hello, Prophet. Greetings, dear Prophet. You look as healthy as ever. Yes, thanks to your kind wishes, I'm doing quite well. Here, take one. It's on the house. Thank you. An elderly woman, clearly familiar with the prophet, approached her warmly and placed a sunberry on her hand. After walking for a while and chatting amiably with the residents, they finally caught sight of the majestic temple of Solar. Its grand archway stood proudly against the vivid blue sky, gleaming brilliantly like a radiant rainbow. The Temple of Solar was erected to honor the enduring peace between Law and the four nations, and is said to have been constructed by the masterful architects of Mott. Heisu shifted her gaze toward the majestic tree of the sun, rising high atop a small hill beside the temple. Though some distance away from where they stood, the tree's magnificent form was clearly visible, dominating the view. It's always breathtaking, no matter how often I see it. Beneath dazzling golden leaves, pure white fruits hung in abundance, creating a sight that never failed to inspire awe. The tree of the sun was dyed blood red for half the year, and shone golden like sunlight for the other half. People believed this wondrous transformation occurred because the breath of La, the creator, had touched the tree. Ah, working hard again today, I see. How about some refreshing sun drop? At the base of the hill leading up to the tree of the sun, beneath a vibrant tent, the owner of Master of the Sun called out to Heisu with a cheerful grin. Well, Calling it juice is a stretch. They're just sunberries with straws poked through them. Oh, how big are these berries? Though called a berry... Oh! Answering my question right after. Though called a berry, the sunberry is roughly the size of a fist and possesses a tough outer shell. Inside, it brims with a translucent crimson juice, sweet and refreshingly crisp, making it a beloved drink amongst locals. Tourists consider it a specialty, often reverently calling it the blood of the sun god La, a tangible taste of divine blessing. Dala, want one? Sure. 2, please. Excuse me, you're on duty. Try not to forget. Well, our captain is relaxing too. She's the captain. We're not. Unbothered by Max's scolding, Jesus and Dala took a sip of their sundrops. You two, I swear. Pretending not to hear Max's grumbling, Jesus turned her gaze toward Rianne. What? Where did you come from? Standing a little distance away, Rianne was engaged in a quiet conversation with the prophet. Walking through the market like this reminds me of our older days. It does, doesn't it? The first time I took you outside, you were trembling like a puppy caught in the rain. It was truly terrifying back then. You hadn't even tried cotton candy. Not even hot dogs. No, not even hot dogs. I remember wondering, what has this woman been doing her whole life? Have you not lived? No hot dogs? I'll never forget the taste of that first hot dog. Rianne and the prophet broke into smiles simultaneously, their faces glowing with nostalgia. The prophet and Rianne really are close. Even the first time I met Rianne, she was with the prophet. With that thought, Jesus took another sip of her sundrop, just as an advertisement began playing on a billboard mounted atop one of the soaring skyscrapers. Oh, time for the billboard voice. From shipbuilding to water purification, Claudia, reborn through carefully patented innovations. CEO Aben, her decisive leadership shaped Claudia into the enterprise it is today. Oh, that woman looks a lot like Adora. Be quiet. Max elbowed Jesus sharply in the ribs and whispered. Huh? Why? That's Adora's mother. She doesn't like talking about family, so let's just quietly move on. I can hear you. Adora, whose expression rarely changed, frowned slightly and spoke. I've heard rumors that Adora was from a prestigious family. But the heir to Claudia? Glizzy enjoyers. Claudia was a global corporation, famous enough that even 6-year-olds knew its name. Jesus recalled recently reading an article about Claudia expanding its ventures from shipbuilding and water purification into hospital management. Siri, go away. No, stop! Siri, go away! Stop! When did I say... Okay, whatever. Maybe she's not on good terms with her mother. Though Max likely understood Adora's personal worries better, Jesus had no intention of prying into matters Adora preferred to keep private. Well, it's not like I'm one to talk. I have things I'd prefer to keep hidden, too. Agent Jesus? Before she knew it, the prophet had drawn very close to Jesus' side. Startled by the prophet's sudden appearance, Jesus nearly threw her sundrop onto the ground. Yes? Answering weakly like a deflated balloon, Jesus quickly glanced toward Rianne. Rianne, who had been casually standing beside the prophet moments ago, now stood rigid, hands clasped behind her back like a sentry. Seeing this, Jesus quietly slipped the sundrop behind her back and replied in a composed voice. Yes, Your Grace. Is there something you require? Hand over chest, she bowed politely, as though she hadn't just been slacking off. The prophet simply observed her in silence. Your Grace? As the silence stretched onward, Jesus lifted her head to meet the prophet's serene blue eyes. You truly resemble your mother a great deal, Agent Jesus. Ah, I see. Seeing you makes me feel nostalgic. Jesus awkwardly scratched her head, unable to think of an appropriate response. Given that Jesus' mother was the former ruler of Bastet, it was natural for her to have known the prophet. Ah. Yet, as Jesus recalled old memories, She couldn't help but wonder if the relationship between the two had gone beyond mere diplomacy. Oh? Dalla, who had been standing motionless like a statue, let out a faint sound of displeasure. Sensing trouble, Jesus quickly grabbed Dalla's arm, pulling her back slightly. Forgive her, Your Grace. She had a rough night and isn't feeling her best. Jesus stepped forward, hiding Dalla behind her back, quickly coming up with an excuse. Oh my god, look at her. Whether or not the prophet noticed Jesus' anxious efforts to block Dalla's heated glare, she simply lowered her gaze, calm and gentle, seemingly unbothered. Please, I do not mind at all. The prophet's benevolent glance peeked past Jesus' shoulder, but Dalla blatantly turned away, as if swatting an irritating fly. Have you lost your mind? Do you even realize who you're glaring at? She's our boss. No, the monarch of this entire nation, you idiot! Jesus discreetly pinched Dalla's arm as a warning, but her attempt at intimidation proved completely futile. The prophet only smiled, as if amused by their exchange. Agent Jesus, would you care to take a short walk with me? Just the two of us. Pardon me? The unexpected request falling from the prophet's lips startled Jesus. Even as Jesus repeated pardon in disbelief, the prophet's clear round eyes continued to gaze steadily upon her. You can go, just don't wander too far. Rianne's words served as permission, nudging Jesus gently from behind. Why would she call me aside? It's not like we're close or anything. Jesus was no longer the heir to Bastet's ruling family, nor did she hold any significant political value. Could this possibly be about my mother? Yes, Prophet. If I'm acceptable company, then I'll gladly join you. Jesus responded cheerfully, offering her usual practiced friendly smile. Yet, even as she spoke, she felt the prickling sensation of Dalla's intense fury burning into her back. What on earth are you so angry about? Dalla had always detested interacting with anyone except Jesus. In the past, she'd flare up in anger whenever someone dared to step across the boundaries she'd set. But such fiery outbursts had gradually grown rarer since she'd reached adulthood. It had therefore been quiet sometimes since Jesus had witnessed Dalla's hostility laid bare so openly. For Dalla to show this much animosity, Jesus stole a quick glance at the prophet. Does she have something against the prophet? Yes. What could it be? Why is Dalla so upset? I wonder. It's not like we were just sharing the same bed this morning. Nope. With her questions unresolved, Jesus trailed after the prophet, footsteps heavy as they approached the tree of the sun. Together, they ascended the small hill and stopped beneath the towering branches of the great tree. Sunlight gently filtered through the dense clusters of leaves, scattered along the branches extending from a thick, intricately twisted trunk. Jesus and the prophet stood serenely beneath the warmth of that comforting light. This place is dear to me. At the prophet's words, Jesus turned to face her. But her eyes weren't directed toward Jesus. Her gaze rested on the bustling city below, to the civilians of La, busy and vibrant as they went about their daily lives. As if in answer to her words, the leaves of the tree rustled softly in the breeze. Yes, it is to me as well. Looking at the prophet's benevolent smile, Jesus answered without hesitation. However, the prophet's expression suddenly turned sorrowful as she quietly lowered her head. Your Grace? Pardon me. Did I say something wrong? Jesus stood awkwardly, unsure of how to respond. Then the prophet parted her lips as if to speak, but hesitated. There is a certain passage in the scripture. Flesh is sin, and the body is its incarnation. Bound to Ha, the flesh, humans cling to life and fall into sin. Her voice carried the gravity of penance, as if spoken in prayer. I, too, am a sinner, shackled by Ha. I exist only as a servant to law. My only choice is to sin, to survive and lay bare my sins before our great mother. Jesus held her breath, listening silently to this confession. If not for the subtle rustling of the leaves brushing against her ears, she might have thought time itself had stopped. Flesh is sin, and the body is its incarnation? Jesus repeated the words silently to herself when a rush of indescribable emotions overtook her, causing her fist to clench so tightly that crescent-shaped marks formed in her palms. Do you recall what I've said before? well along the past? The prophet was carefully observing Jesus' reaction. Within her expression, full of gentle consideration, was a subtle yet earnest longing. What did she say to me again? Jesus remembered meeting the prophet as a child, but try as she might, she couldn't recall their exact conversation. I owe you an apology, Your Grace. An almost guilty feeling rising within her, Jesus bowed her head apologetically toward the prophet. You needn't be. I am only here to watch, to see whom you will love, whom you will choose. Whom I choose? Ah, so we're getting into the meat. Are we getting into the meat of the game? Jesus, wearing a puzzled expression, looked up at the prophet, who only returned her gaze with a quiet, unreadable smile. Shall we head back? Yes, Your Grace. The prophet, the messenger who conveyed Law's voice, was a being closer to divinity than anyone else in the world, wielding absolute and unrivaled authority. Yet, in those fleeting moments they had shared, Jesus saw her not as a divine sovereign, but as merely human. A solitary soul teetering on a tightrope, crushed beneath the weight of an immense destiny. Feeling a strange tenderness well up in her chest, Jesus extended her hand without thinking. The path is uneven, Your Grace. Please, take my hand. Jesus gently clasped the warm hand that settled onto her own. Perhaps more time had passed than she'd realized. When Jesus and the prophet descended the hill, the streets were considerably more crowded than before. Most of them were tourists visiting Solar City. People just lightly wandered about, sipping their sundrops or following tour guides toward the temple in groups. Well, September is peak season after all. Solaris Day, the founding day of the land of Solar. Law was celebrated worldwide as a common holiday, making Solar City particularly crowded with visitors during this season. Amidst the noisy murmurs of the dense crowd filling the streets, Jesus noticed Adora's head peeking clearly above the others. Adora stands out wherever she goes. Excuse us, please. We need to get through. Recognizing Jesus as an agent of Eclipse and spotting the prophet beside her, people gradually began making way. Prophet, please stay close to me. Staying protectively beside the prophet, Jesus pushed through the crowd, heading towards Adora, whose head stood out clearly above everyone else's. Ugh! Perhaps pushed by the crowded mass, someone suddenly fell forward, hitting the ground with a thud. Are you all right? The prophet reacted quicker than Jesus. She had already stepped forward, a flicker of concern passing over her face. Prophet? The woman's speech was heavily slurred, as if she were deeply intoxicated. Yet there was no trace of alcohol in the air around her. Something's not right. Are you all right? Perhaps you're feeling unwell. Your Grace, wait! Sensing danger, Jesus swiftly moved toward them. You! It's all your fault! Oh, a blade flashed chillingly from the woman's grasp, slicing upward through the air. Jesus threw herself in front of the prophet, reaching out instinctively toward the glinting blade. The keenly sharpened knife mercilessly ripped across Jesus' palm. Blood splattered, ripping through her glove, exposing the flesh torn open by the blade's ruthless edge. Had it been a direct strike, it might have taken more than just skin. Ugh! Knock her down or throw a punch? Probably knock her down. Stop her. Let's not... I guess punching would be just as effective, right? In a flash, Jesus thrust her leg toward the woman's foot. Ugh! Her foot hooked sharply around the woman's ankle, sending her crashing helplessly to the ground. Without missing a beat, Jesus seized the chance to pin her down, quickly straddling her body. At first, the crowd drawn by curiosity simply murmured, Are they filming a movie or something? The tourists are screaming now, Yeah! Only moments later, realizing the seriousness of the situation, people screamed and began scattering frantically. Let me go! Let me go! I'll kill you! With bloodshot eyes, the woman shrieked furiously up at Jesus. She thrashed about wildly, more beast than human in her frenzied state. Is she on drugs or something? Kneeling firmly upon her struggling body, Jesus caught hold of the woman's wrist as she swung the knife recklessly. With a swift twist, a sickening crack rang out, and the weapon fell clattering onto the ground. Judging by her clumsy grip and the complete lack of any attempt to use supernatural powers, she was obviously just an ordinary human, devoid of any divine authority. But then, why is she so strong? Jesus should have subdued her opponent with ease. Yet oddly, Jesus' knees, which were pinning the woman down, began trembling uncontrollably. It even felt as if the woman's body was swelling. Die! Jesus strained every muscle in her body to suppress the force surging beneath her, but it showed no signs of subsiding. Damn it. Every time Jesus exerted more force, fresh blood spurted from the wound in her palm. Is she absorbing it? Oh. Dripping onto the woman's face. Drip. Drip. The dark crimson dots slid down the woman's cheeks, tracing twin lines along her skin. Then, another scream! As the woman violently twisted and struggled beneath her, Jesus' body began tilting dangerously to the left. Following gravity, the drops of blood ran down the bridge of the woman's nose, drawing a sharp red line across her face before vanishing past her lips. Ugh. The woman suddenly stiffened, her body locking up as she swallowed hard. Mew and the pre-hits! No! Ah! She let out an animalistic scream, coughing and spluttering as black blood burst from her mouth. Huh? With devastating force incomparable to moments before, she swung her arm wildly towards Jesus. Struck by that bestial strength, Jesus' body was thrown through the air, crashing violently into a market stall. Ugh! Jesus, fall back! Before she knew it, Rianne appeared and stood protectively in front of Jesus. Captain! The Prophet's safety is our top priority. All units, enter alert status. I'll take the lead. Yes, ma'am. The woman clutched her head, shooting abruptly to her feet and screaming grotesquely, arms flailing into the air. Rianne's uniform fluttered as she summoned the wind onto her hands. But before the gale could surge forward, she crumpled to the ground, collapsing like a puppet with its strings severed. Max. Wind still swirling around her fingertips, Rianne called for Max, instructing her to assess the situation. Max approached cautiously, reaching out to press her fingers against the woman's neck. Confirmed KIA. She's dead? Jesus stared at her bloodied fist, recalling the moment her blood had fallen onto the woman's face. Oh. Oh! Opening sequence? Bro, animation. Let's go! We got edged from the lore. But hey, I mean, it's a demo for a reason. It's gotta hook you somehow, right? And now we gotta figure out what was that lady doing? Was she possessed by something? Oh, who is this person? Who's that person? Oh my god. Give us your money. Hey, I mean, look at how much, like, effort is being put into this. I think the studio well deserves their money. Oh. Hey! We completed the prologue. Or the demo. That's pretty good! I mean, it was obviously, I didn't expect the demo to be super long, but an hour is pretty chunky. The OST slaps, yeah. Good soundtrack. I do like. So what did you guys think? I am intrigued. I want to know what's gonna happen next. I like that they hint that, you know, it's a visual novel, but there's probably multiple endings depending on who you decide to follow. You love this? Yay! well, you should definitely go check out the Steam page or follow Moon Sun at their Twitter. I don't think they have a Blue Sky. At least when I checked, it seemed like they only have Twitter. But yeah, I really appreciate the production value on this. It's really good. And most visual novels you read at your own pace, but I do like that they added the option of like the time attack sequence to add a little more like, oh, you gotta think fast, you gotta act now. Might make things more intriguing. Well, I feel like I should definitely hit up Moon Sun's email and let them know that we had a good time and that you guys are interested in seeing more. Though, with my weekly schedule, it might take us a while to get through or around to doing more of this, or like beating the game. I don't know how much longer the game would be, like the actual game, but I'm definitely invested. Can we? No, we can't view the album still. I assume once you play the full game, you'd be able to access any CGs and maybe like little. I do like that in some of the cutscenes, rather than just having like an illustration, they made it more of like a comic format. It's kind of fun. But yeah, so sorry today's stream is gonna be a little shorter than normal. Obviously, I just wanted to focus on the demo. But it kind of works out. I had my first day working full-time at the aquarium. Typically, I mean, for the past couple years of me working, I've only been doing part-time, so I just started doing full-time this week. So I'm getting used to it. No, stay. Well, I gotta do stuff. I gotta get ready for bed. I have another full day of work tomorrow, unfortunately. But hey, now that we're in December, I should let you know, for those of you who are new or who have followed me sometime in the middle of this year or, later down the line, we have something special coming up. Oh, something special? What could possibly be special, you may ask? What's coming up? Well, for one, we had the holidays, which I hope if you guys celebrated Thanksgiving, I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. Mine was pretty chill. We also have Christmas and the holidays coming up at the end of the year. I don't have anything particularly planned for that, but come the next month, January, for those of you who don't know, January, the start of January, the beginning of January, is my anniversary. That's when I started streaming, like every week. Like 3 years ago, or I guess come January, it would have been 3 years ago that, I was talking about wanting to stream to one of my friends and one of my coworkers, and they were like, I think you could easily do once a week streaming. You should do it. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I can do once a week. That seems pretty easy. And so I've been streaming, minus with like any time that I've been sick or there's been something, one or another, I've been streaming at least once a week for 3 years. So I typically, every January, I try to plan like special streams for that entire month. So something fun and unique every week. We can do 3 random game streams where it's small games. Oh, that's not a bad idea. I mean, I would consider that for maybe a future stream. Like if I had known, or I guess if I had planned better, I would have prepared like some other demo streams and kind of like combine them all in one. But I also like just having a stream focusing on the one game demo, give it its spotlight that it deserves. Group Bible study. With at least with this game, the Yuri Bible, the Bible of Yuri. God bless. Thank you. Amen. 3 random Thursdays. Yeah, well, so as an example, in the past, for my last like anniversary month, what did I do? Even I don't remember what I did. Oh, I think I had my younger brother come play a game with me, and we asked each other questions on stream. That was one stream, I think. I think the year before that, like my first anniversary. Or no, what am I saying? No, that might have been. No, was it last year? Or maybe that was just some one-off stream. I can't remember anymore. I'm getting them mixed up. But yeah, I typically tried to plan little special streams all for the month of January to celebrate my anniversary. So yeah, my third streaming anniversary is coming up this next month in January. So I'm working on putting some stuff together. I've had a couple ideas here and there, but haven't really solidified anything yet. But yeah, I mean, I will try to use as much of my free time to put something good together for y'all. Animation? No, I don't have that much free time. I really wish I did, though. You have no idea how bad I've been wanting to make animation, like, content for myself, for my channel. So bad. So bad. One of these days, I will have the time. But yeah, animation is really hard. It is true. It takes a lot of effort. But yeah, I mean, you know, even on top of that, I want to do like new loading screens, new end screens. Now lock in. You're so right. I know, you're so right. Well, with that being said, we'll call stream end here for tonight. Thanks for joining me, everyone. I hope you had a good time checking out Eclipse Special Forces. I will email Moon Sun and let them know how it went. I'll link them to this stream in case they want to watch, in case they weren't able to tune in, because I don't think I told them that I was gonna be streaming the demo. But yeah, maybe they can have a good time rewatching. And so, other than that, I hope you guys have a good rest of your week. Next week, we will return to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. I think it's probably going to take like maybe 2 more streams of Phoenix Wright before we can finish it. No, I'm sorry. I anticipate maybe 3 good streams, assuming that I don't mess up on the trials again. Maybe we can get it done by the end of the month. I don't know. Well, actually, no, because I know I'm going to be busy at the end of the month for the holidays, so I'll be using that free time that I have to prepare for January. So I think, maybe we'll only get 2 more streams of Ace Attorney before, yeah, probably 2. That's my guess, but I'll keep you all in the loop. I will post on social media, and I'll try to update my YouTube page a little more often. I know everything's been kind of like, ever since my work schedule changed, everything's been kind of like crazy. But slowly getting back into it. So yeah, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney next week. We continue with the interesting one of the, I think it's the second to last trial of the game. Go try boudin sausages if you want to change your lives. Peace. What a good end note. Go eat some glizzies, y'all. Alright, good night everyone. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.